It is recording. I'll pause it for now and then start it when we start talking.
For joining. We are going to be recording this session, so if you want to come back to it, or if you weren't able to join, you can see about the Tribal College Research Grant Program that the National Institute of Food and Agriculture has currently open. My name is Erin Riley. I am the National Program Leader with NIFA. I am in the Division of Community and Education, and I work with many of the tribal college programs, including Tribal College Research Grant Program, New Beginnings, Equity, and the Endowment Program. I'm going to let Praley Chitness introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Praley Chitness, and I am the program specialist for the Tribal College Research Grant Program. And it's great to see everyone on the call here. Thank you, Erin.
Great. So we have done something different this year than we have in the past. In the past, we have opened up the request for applications for a select period of time, usually between 60 and 90 days. What we have done this year is we are trying to do a rolling application cycle. And the thought process behind this is to give the 1994s a little more time to submit grant applications. And what we would like to do is try to increase the number of solicitations that we receive for this program. So how we are administering the Tribal College Research Grant Program in 2024 is we are going to have the solicitation open until December 31st of 2024. So you have all the way from now until December 31st, 2024 to apply for this program. Now we are going to be paneling the Tribal College Research Grant Program 3 times throughout the year. So if you apply before July 20th, we are going to be paneling your proposal in phase 1. If you apply between July 20th and October 1st, we're going to pull your applications into our system October 1st after 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you apply after October 1st, you will be pulled into NIFA's system December 31st and paneled in phase 3. So you can apply starting now all the way through December 31st, just keeping in mind that you will be paneled either in phase 1 based on the date provided, phase 2, or phase 3 deadlines. I just want to give a quick example of a Tribal College Research Grant Program that Stone Child College received, which was a conference grant titled Intertribal College Consortium in Northeastern Montana. And it was strengthening collaborations across communities to address regional impacts of climate change through traditional ecological knowledge. So this conference proposed to seek support for convening 2 in-person conferences consisting of tribal college science departments, the Buffalo programs, outside researchers, and representatives from federal agencies who directly supported the expansion of ongoing successful collaborations across 4 tribal communities in north central Montana. The communities were Blackfeet Nation, Rocky Boy Indian Reservation, Fort Belknap Indian Community, and Fort Peck Tribes. This is an example of one of the projects that was funded last year in the conference grant type. So the purpose of today's webinar is to discuss the Tribal College Research Grant Program request for applications. We're going to outline important pieces of the request for applications and answer any questions that stakeholders may have. You are welcome to put questions in the question and answer text box below or in the chat, and we will address your questions either during, if it's appropriate, or at the end of this webinar. So to go over the deadlines again, the first deadline, if you want to be paneled in phase 1, is July 20th. The second deadline, October 1st. And the third deadline is December 31st. One thing that everybody should be aware about, and I'm going to talk about this as we get into the project types, there is a new project type called 1994 Research Capacity Centers. If you are applying for this particular project type, there will be only one panel held in phase 3. And I will explain in greater detail about this particular project type in a later slide. But keep in mind, if you are applying for the Research Capacity Center, which is the $2.5 million, that will be paneled in phase 3. So this award will not be made until the 2025 fiscal year. So the grants need to be submitted through grants.gov. For this particular fiscal year, and this should say fiscal year 2024, there's $7.5 million that is available for the Tribal College Research Grant Program. In 2024, the appropriations did not change. However, what we are doing is we are taking money from previous years that have been left on the books, and that's why it is $7.5 million instead of the $5 million, which is appropriated by Congress. The grant duration is 24 to 60 months for this program. The program code is ZY. And in this particular 2024 request for applications, the maximum award amount is $2.5 million. So the purpose of this grant is to develop leadership skills, and leadership skills among students is what the intent of this particular RFA. We really would like to prepare students to be globally competitive. This particular grant program can fund international work if it benefits the tribal college. It can also pay for international exchanges, so keep that in mind. Also, we encourage projects that do traditional ecological knowledge, as well as research, education, and extension, although the purpose is mostly around research projects. So the 5 project types that this request for applications has is the 1994 Research Capacity Center, which, as I said before, will be paneled in phase 3. So you can apply throughout the entire year. However, all of the Research Capacity Center projects that are submitted to NIFA will be paneled after the December 31st deadline. There is the Area of Expertise project type, which the maximum is $650,000. Keep in mind, we really would like you to have had a research project prior from NIFA, from National Science Foundation, or from another granting agency. The new discovery project type is $350,000 maximum. The applied faculty and community is $150,000 maximum. And the conference grant types are $150,000 maximum. Keep in mind that that's a lot more than the AFRI conference grant program. So I highly encourage you to apply for a conference grant if you're looking for support for travel. So I want to talk real quick about the grant types. There are two that we have. There is a regular grant type, or excuse me, a collaborative grant is the grant type that this particular request for applications has. And what the collaborative grant is that you need to be supported by one of the following partners, which is in legislation. It has to be, you have to partner with an 1890, an 1862, a school of forestry, a McIntyre School of Forestry, or a non-land grant college of agriculture, or the Agriculture Research Service. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to share funding with these particular partners, but it does mean that you need to have a letter of collaboration with them. This is in legislation, so this is a requirement for this program. The eligibility for this program are the 35 tribal colleges that are listed in the Farm Bill. You can see them here, and we can go to the next slide, Praley. There is no cost sharing or matching for this program. And I want to make sure that you see those research collaboration requirements that are in legislation. An 1862 or a 1890 land grant institution, the United States Department of Agriculture's Agricultural Research Service. This can be headquarters, state, or regional laboratory, a non-land grant college of agriculture, or a forestry school funded under the McIntyre Stennis Cooperative Forestry Research Program. So these are the four partners that the 1994 has to have a collaboration with in order to receive this tribal college research grant program. In your application, please have the project summary and the abstract with the correct word count. List in there which project type you are going to be applying for. This is a conference grant. This is an area of expertise. This is the research capacity center, so that we know exactly which project type you are applying for. The project narrative, the senior and key personnel, please describe thoroughly about who is going to be working on the project. The personal data, the budget, the R&R budget, the data management plan, and supplemental information such as a felony conviction and tax delinquent state for cooperative applicants needs to be included, as well as a mentoring plan. I want to quickly talk about the data management plan. The data management is required by law for this program. You should clearly articulate how the project director and the co-PD plans to manage and disseminate the data generated by the project. So what we would like to know is, how are you storing the data within your institution? If you are not collecting data, so let's say you apply for a conference grant and you aren't collecting data for the program, you just need a sheet of paper that says we are not collecting data for this grant. And that's what your data management plan will be. So we can't not have a data management plan. We have to have at least you saying we are not collecting data. The data management plan is considered during the merit review process. So really think about how you're going to build that institutional data memory within the 1994 that you're applying with. Next slide. We also need a mentoring plan. The mentoring plan should incorporate the roles and responsibilities of the project director and how they're going to be mentoring students. Should talk about training of credentials of individuals who are serving as the mentors, a description of the mentoring activities, and a description of the processes to ensure responsible accommodations for program participants with disabilities. Next slide. Okay, indirect cost rates. So 70% of the total budget of this program needs to stay within the 1994 institutions, okay? There is a 30% cap of total federal funds awarded, and that is included for the entire project. So you are having to collaborate with one of these potential 4 collaborators. So your budget and the subaward budget must not exceed 30% of the total federal funds awarded. Keep that in mind when you do your budget. So 70% of the budget needs to stay at the 1994s, and you cannot exceed an indirect cost of 30% of the total federal funds awarded. So including the subawardee. Now, again, if you're working with a partner that doesn't want any funding, that's totally okay. We still need a letter of collaboration. But maybe you're working with the Ag Research Service and they don't want part of the budget. Absolutely fine, and it makes things easier in a lot of ways. However, we still need a letter of collaboration. Okay, let's talk about the evaluation criteria. The evaluation criteria is a very important part of the request for applications. This is what, when we go to panel, we give to the panelists and we say, these are the 5 key elements on how we want you to judge these proposals when you're reviewing them. Advancing the quality of research. So really think about that impact upon the quality of food and ag sciences, that and how it's going to strengthen your institution, as well as the long-range goals of the 1994 you're applying from. What is the proposed approach and cooperative linkages? This is where hopefully you have a standing cooperative agreement or relationship with one of the 1994s that were one of the 1862s, 1890s ARS non-land grant College of Agriculture or the McIntyre Stennis School of Forestry, and that you can really talk about in the proposed approaches and cooperative linkages how sound and good that particular relationship is. Also, is your methodology good? One of the things that's really important for these tribal college research grant programs is that you do a very good experimental design. If you're doing an observational study, make sure that the methodology of that observation is laid out very well. Be very detailed in your timetable, as well as the project evaluation and dissemination plan. What is this research is going to provide for the community that you're working with? Institutional capability and capacity building. So how is this going to affect some of the degree programs at your college? We gave some tribal college research grant programs for chemistry, and they have actually built from those research grants that we provided, they have built onto it now a degree program in chemistry, and I believe it's a master's degree program in chemistry at this particular institution. So will this particular research grant help with capacity building at the 1994s? Key personnel. This is one where you really need to sell yourself as a project director. When people come in and they are reviewing these proposals, keep in mind, they don't know about the institutional background. You're going to need to explain it very well. And they don't know about who you are as a 1994 project director. Even though it's a small community, You need to spell out clearly why you are the best person to do this research. Really keep that in mind. Sell yourself when you write this proposal. And then the budget and cost effectiveness. So one of the important things, again, is keep in mind that 70% needs to stay with the tribal college. Only 30% can go to your partner. Keep in mind certain things such as, am I spending too much on equipment and not enough time on my own, on the cost that it will cost you to actually do the work on the project, as well as the other way around. Am I paying myself too much? And am I not giving enough to actually do the outcomes of what I'm saying I'm going to do for materials, maybe for honoraria for people to come in and help with traditional ecological knowledge, things such as that. Questions or problems? Why is there a need for this particular study? What's the problem that you are trying to solve? And if you solve this problem with this research project, who or what will benefit from it? Does the tribe know or want this study to take place? Do you have an institutional research board at the 1994? If you are doing human research, and if you are doing animal research, you will need an IACUC, okay? So if your 1994 does not have an IRB, you can use the 1862's Institutional Research Board or its tribal Institutional Research Board to help you out. So again, if you are doing human research, you will need to go through an IRB, or if you're doing research with any sort of vertebrate animals, you will need an IACUC. And then will you be collecting sensitive data to the tribe, and how will you store this data? That's a very important question, and make sure that you address that in your request for applications. If anything that is published in our progress reports on the report system or our final technical reports is available to the public. So we ask for you not to put sensitive data to the tribe if they don't want it released to the public in the progress reports or the final technical reports. So if you're doing a science research project, we really want you to have a hypothesis. Predict the relationship and the outcomes, okay? Have your hypothesis be simple and concise. We don't want it to be ambiguous or assumptive to the reader's knowledge. It needs to be testable or observable, and it needs to be relevant and specific to the research question or the problem. I will tell you, one of the major reasons in the Tribal College Research Program that they get dinged by panelists is because they don't have a hypothesis and the projects don't have a good experimental design. So really focus on that. Think about your outcomes. So did you accept or reject your hypothesis on your outcomes? Were the outcomes as you predicted? Why or why not? What will you do with the information and how will it help the tribe? Will you publish the data? And if you will, where? And how will this publication help the tribe or the 1994 build its institutional capacity? So I want to quickly talk about a tribal college research project example called Assessing Temperature Trends and Critical Habitat for Sacred Species in the Lance Indian Reservation and Ceded Territories. So this is at the Quinoa Bay Ojibwa Community College, and it does some amazing work with fisheries. The tribe owns and operates a cold water fish hatchery that stocks a lot of species of fish to provide critical sustenance for community members. So the success of the program relies on accurate ecological data. So all aspects of the work were informed by findings from extensive community-based social science research. Values and concerns related to the fisheries, medicinal plants, and water resources were identified in peer-reviewed community-based research project They had student research assistants that were working on this, as well as a university partnership. So this particular project is one that I like to highlight because it really had it has a lot of community engagement. The project is directed to the needs of what the community has in terms of their cold water fish hatchery. And it's also it's an important part of their diet and their sustenance in this area. So this project I really like to highlight as a good project for the Tribal College Research Grant Program. So with that, we are going to take any questions that you all might have, and I see that there's one in the chat box. And it says if we apply to an earlier deadline and do not get funded, does the eliminate us from programs, or do we continue to be considered until the next deadline? Great question, Peter. And so how we are doing the panel is the same panelists are going to, instead of doing a 3-day panel, the same panelists will do 1 day throughout the year. And so if we are going to be doing one large ranking board as we go. So let's say you are lower, and we're splitting it. This is the other thing, we're splitting the pot. So the 1.5 million will be allocated in the phase 1, 1.5 million phase 2, and then 3.5 million because that last 1994 tribal college capacity centers have 2.5 million for them, but then you have the additional 1.5 million. So keeping in mind, that's how we're splitting it up. And yes, if you are ranked, let's say there were a lot of proposals that were ranked in the high category in phase 1, yet you were not funded because you were still at the bottom of the high category, you will be in the running for phase 2. And those panelists will have reviewed all of the proposals and will be able to decide later in the year whether you can get funded or not. So that's how it will operate. I hope that answered your question. But the answer is, Peter, yes, you are not eliminated yet. And everybody will kind of push through. So until after that December 31st deadline, or you will be funded before that. Great. Okay, so that answered your question, Peter. Thank you. Are there other questions? Is a copy of the presentation available? Yes. We can make the copy of, send an email with the copy of the presentations and the link to this particular webinar. As well, if you would like to set up a meeting with myself, I am happy to do so, to answer any questions that you have. We're also going to do another webinar before the October deadline and before the December deadline.
And then, Erin, I do see the second part of that question. Where can we get a list and more info on prior funded proposals? And so on the NIFA website, we do have a data gateway resource, and that's where it lists all of our NIFA funded projects.
Kaylee, did you want to show our program contacts and the non-discrimination statement?
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes.
Great.
And here
Okay.
are our,
So here's,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Erin.
okay, here are our program contacts. So myself and Praley Chitness, you are welcome to reach out to us with any questions that you have. We are happy to set up a meeting with any of you. And then the last slide is our non-discrimination statement at USDA. So we take discrimination very seriously at National Institute of Food and Agriculture. So if you feel as though anyone is discriminated during this webinar or any other time, please contact the Office of Civil Rights. So we have a few more minutes for other questions. And if there are no more questions, I want to thank everybody for joining this webinar. We're hoping that we're going to get many projects this year submitted. But we really look forward to reading your proposals. And if you have any questions, please reach out to myself or to Praley Chitness. I know for some of us, this is a new way of doing business with the Tribal College Research Grant Program, and we're hoping that it helps with your all's large and I know very strenuous workloads at the 1994. So thank you and have a wonderful afternoon and happy Juneteenth, everybody, for tomorrow.